You literally have to go back to 1956 for such a confrontational moment in U.S.-Israeli relations. And what this tells me is Israel now has a prime minister. Let's put aside the fact that many of us think what he's doing is ill-advised. That we have a prime minister who seems to be politically thinking that his prospects are improved not by managing Israel's most important relationship, but by upending it, by saying he's the only force that stands between Israel and American pressure. That is something qualitatively different.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Sorry, that's my Netanyahu sound.
Okay.
Okay, hey, look who's here.
We can dance if we want to, if we hope somebody will. Cause Republicans are rude and should be removed and act like they're imbeciles. I say, Malcolm Nance, Trump is under Putin's control. We can dance while Stephanie dances with the pole. Well, it's the Malcolm Nance. It's the Malcolm Nance.
Oh, hiya, Malcolm. Hi, Malcolm Nance. Hi.
Good morning. Anything going on in the world I need to know about?
Oh, my God. Well, you wrote a piece. First of all, I was talking about the new reporting, which is not new to you. You were the first ones to warn us, but about how balls deep Russia is going to be in the 2024 election, and already is, right? That they're just, they're going to back any lawmaker that is against giving aid to Ukraine, that's for getting out of NATO. They're going to gin up as much chaos and division. There was just a story that they were behind a lot of the Kate Middleton stuff to try to gin up chaos and division in England. I mean, they're just a bad actor, Russia. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Yeah. And you know what? Look, when 2016 happened, we saw that Russia was pushing the leading edge of disinformation for Donald Trump. Interestingly enough, by 2020, they had backed off because the right-wing Trump's machine literally took the ball from them, ran harder and faster than the Russian disinformation machine could keep up with.
Yeah.
And then they watched the transformation of the Republican Party literally into the Kremlin caucus because Donald Trump said so. Simply because Donald Trump said so. I meet people on the street who are still like, "Oh, Ukraine bad." Donald Trump says that they're bad, and they praise a KGB dictator.
Yeah.
Now what we're seeing is the Russians modify their strategy to give all of these Republican lawmakers, let me rephrase that. All of these Republican traitors, the ability to have new false disinformation enter their information sphere. So that now American politicians under Trump are now the leading disseminators of Moscow-originated material because Republicans think that Russia is trustworthy because Trump loves Moscow.
Yeah. I mean, we were just talking about this latest, the Baltimore Bridge tragedy, Malcolm, that, Russian bots dive in anywhere there's conspiracy stuff that they think can hurt Biden, and therefore hurt America. I mean, you can tell us how the fact, trying to say this is a cyber attack on Biden's watch is pretty patently ridiculous, isn't it? And also, you're a Navy guy, so talk to us a little bit about that.
Well, yeah, I'm a Navy guy, but I've never driven a 90,000-ton, 948-foot Singaporean container ship.
Yeah.
Right? It takes a month and a half to go from New York or Baltimore to Sri Lanka. That thing is huge. It's bigger than a U.S. aircraft carrier and 3 times as tall. And when it loses power, it can't stop. Okay, guys. I wrote a whole Substack about this, for which I'm sure you'll talk about in a minute. But when you lose power in the equivalent of an aircraft carrier that's moving 8 miles per hour, you can't steer.
Right.
You can't. There's nothing you can do. The guy who was on the ship was the top pilot of Baltimore. That's the guy who just brings it in and out. The captain doesn't do it. A U.S. citizen does it. You can't turn that ship off through cyber attack like crazy Laura Loomer is telling people
Yeah.
that it was a Ukrainian cyber attack that turned the ship gay or something. So
Yeah.
it's just.
I mean,
which is why it was
Nancy
driving.
Mace blaming Biden's infrastructure bill, which first of all she voted against, and secondly, as you just were explaining, what this ship is, any bridge was going to fall down, even if it was brand new, being hit at that speed.
Yeah. I'm not a maritime expert, all right? I've just ridden on these things. But here's one thing that I got from a real bona fide, PhD maritime architecture expert. He said there is one thing, only one thing on this planet that could stop that ship from forward momentum in the way that it was, and it's called land.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
until it crashes into Maryland, which it did not, it crashed into a pylon. But like you said, how does giving $400 billion to states cause a ship accident?
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Nancy Mace is another.
And she voted against it.
No.
Yeah. But I
course
mean,
she
yeah, I love just your headline. Are CIA Ukrainian terrorists in Moscow making our bridge collisions gay? But you talked about, I just was saying, this piece of Vladimir Putin, right? Trying to blame Ukraine for this shooting at Crocus City Hall, this tragedy.
Yeah.
First of all, the fact that we warned them. Oh my God, it's just, I feel like I'm having flashbacks to, Trump not trusting our intelligence, right? Remember at the time, Putin's like, oh, they're just trying to fear monger. We warned them about this ISIS attack, right? And of course he ignored it. Of course he can't have fair elections. He's completely incompetent. So this thing happens. The Ukraine war that he told Russians would be over in 2 weeks is going on 3 years later, and he tries to blame Ukraine, who, as they said, this is not how they fight. They don't do terrorist attacks like Russia does. But go ahead. Yeah.
Well, you're absolutely right. A few years ago, maybe 10 years ago, The Daily Show did a retrospective on the 9/11 truthers who denied that the World Trade Center was knocked down. And we're in that world right now where it is in Moscow's interest to say Ukraine did everything. Ukraine's doing a lot of things. It's shutting off all their gasoline. It's blowing up their oil refineries. If Ukraine wants to kill 135 Russian citizens, all they have to do is wait on the battlefield for 60 seconds, because that's the rate that we're killing them along 1,100 kilometers. But it reminds me of that line from The Daily Show where Jon Stewart says, to have an alternative opinion, let's bring in a member of Al-Qaeda. And the guy at Al-Qaeda goes, I've been sitting in a cave. I spent 8 months eating goat, trying to do something special. And you 9/11 truthers tried to steal my credit.
Yeah.
Well, this is the same thing with Moscow. ISIS came out literally with video of the guys in the building, live streaming, shooting people, telling them, we're ISIS, we did it. But no, the 9/11 or the now Moscow truthers, the crazy Laura Loomers, all the rest of these people come out there, and it's a CIA plot. And then Donald, whatever, Trump, Elizabeth, comes out and says...
Is his middle name Elizabeth?
Yeah, I mean, for the purpose of this exercise, yeah.
Okay, yes, all right.
Donald Elizabeth Trump comes out and says, Barack Obama created ISIS, and then he launched the attack. He did this at a rally 3 days ago. He said this craziness.
Yeah.
And what do I have now? 70 million crazy Americans that believe that this is true. This is absolutely crazy. And then they tied it right to the bridge collision, right? Yeah. Immigrants coming into America, Joe Biden giving you money, and of course, our bridge collisions are something that Joe Biden personally steered that ship into that pylon, and caused this tragedy.
Yeah.
You people are losing their effing mind.
Yeah, I loved the way you wrote it. You said in Cuckoo La La Land, it was universally accepted that Barack Obama and Joe Biden directed the Islamic State terrorist group to attack Moscow for the gay Jews that run Ukraine. As we say in the military, whiskey tango foxtrot.